Greetings, minions! Welcome to the next episode of our video devlogs on the development of Be My Horde, a roguelite survivor game where you take on the role of a powerful and seductive necromancer, Moriana. Today, we're going to talk about early access. In simple terms, it's amazing. This unique way of releasing a game not only allows you to gather valuable feedback from players and improve the game, but also gives you the freedom to completely shake up gameplay if needed. Just like we did lately with Be My Horde. Well, sort of. But before we dive into the details, we'd like to thank all of you for your support. Every review you leave on Steam and every piece of feedback you share helps us make our little project an even better experience. In the upcoming months, we'll be rolling out updates with extra content like a boss fight and an entirely new level with unique units. But for now, let's focus on the recent update, which introduced a small revolution in how you play Be My Horde. So, what exactly has changed and why? Those of you who have already ventured into Be My Horde with Moriana know the basic gameplay loop. You start a run, get as far as you can, die, and then use the gathered souls to build constructions in your dominion. These buildings give you new abilities and enhance your existing ones. You also collect powerful scrolls that allow you to modify future runs, making it easier to progress. However, after reviewing your feedback, we noticed a gap in our design. Sometimes, the gameplay felt dull. Let's hand it over to Michał Chwistek, our game designer, who will explain why our original approach had some flaws.
Be My Horde had two big problems. First, the beginning. It was too slow. It was good for new players to learn new things slowly, but after a while, killing peasants became boring and lacked excitement. The second problem was limited replayability. We know there are players who spend with our game like 40, 50 hours. I myself spend with it probably thousands of hours and I'm still enjoying. But most of the players were done after unlocking everything and checking out all the scrolls. And we wanted to change that. So how do we solve these problems? We think that the best solutions are those that addresses multiple issues at once. And we think that the perk system is that kind of solution.
The idea was simple. We took scrolls and many of the abilities from the Dominion and integrated them into the runs as perks. Think of the god powers in Hades by Supergiant Games, and you'll get the idea. Now, when you collect enough souls from fallen enemies, you can choose one of 3 perks. Some of them are based on the old scrolls, like summoning graves, urns, or new units on the battlefield, or granting Moriana new abilities like the Aura of Decay, which deals damage to nearby enemies or exploding corpses, making resurrected bodies, well, explode. Among the perks, you'll not only find old favorites, but also plenty of new ones that can turn the tide of battle in an instant, sometimes even saving you from certain death when things don't go as planned. This change may seem simple, but it's transformed the entire experience. Suddenly, the gameplay has become far more engaging. Maybe a little more random compared to when you could fully customize your build before each run, but definitely more dynamic, exciting, and unpredictable in the best way possible. It also lowers the entry barrier for new players, while Be My Horde still remains challenging for veterans as we've retained the beloved feature of unlocking higher levels of hard mode. To be honest, we were a little concerned that our fans might not appreciate the change. After all, many players enjoy playing with scrolls. That's why we organized playtests with nearly 200 people who tried out the new system and gave us tons of amazing feedback on our Discord server. And the response was overwhelmingly positive. It turns out fans liked the new solution because the scrolls are still there, just in a new form. We also showcased the demo with perks at Gamescom in Cologne.
Feedback from Gamescom and Discord was crucial for us because we wanted to test 2 important things. First, we wanted to know if the new system is good enough for experienced players from Discord that they won't miss the old scroll system, because we don't want to take away something that was fun for them. And luckily they didn't miss it, although some players really like the idea to choose something before the game starts. So we'll definitely consider it in the future. Secondly, we wanted to see how new players at Gamescom react to the new perk system. We wanted to make sure that the system is understandable and clear, because one of the main principles of our design is to make the game really easy to learn. And after watching players at Gamescom, we think that we preserved the accessibility of Be My Horde.
But wait. Doesn't this make Be My Horde sound like just another Vampire Survivors clone? A few months ago, we made an entire devlog about how we want to avoid such comparisons and make something unique. By removing the scrolls feature and introducing perks, did we end up becoming what we promised not to be? Well, not exactly. The spirit of Be My Horde is still very much alive.
Be My Horde plays quite differently than Vampire Survivors, and we didn't want to change that, but we almost did it. When we introduced the new system, Moriana was leveling up about once per minute, and we realized that it was definitely too often. The gameplay shifted from horde building to just another leveling up game. There was too much focus on choosing perks and leveling up than on managing your horde efficiently. We address it by adjusting the leveling curve, so now you should level up once every 2 minutes. And it was enough to maintain the core spirit of Be My Horde gameplay.
Of course, it all seems easy when we talk about it now. However, designing a new approach to Be My Horde, one that significantly changes how you experience the game, wasn't without its challenges.
Designing perks was definitely the most enjoyable part of creating this patch, but also one of the most challenging. We had to redesign some ideas behind scrolls to make their perk version impactful immediately after picking up, because we realized that it's very important that the perks do something right after you pick them. Additionally, we couldn't just easily copy some ideas from games like Vampire Survivors, because the main power of the player in the Be My Horde is his army, not Moriana herself. And of course we still have some Moriana's spells, like Hour of Decay, but there aren't many of them, and we probably won't add many more in the future. We think that the focus of perks should remain on the army, and we hope that we delivered some interesting ideas. The best ones are secretly hidden, so I recommend a lot of experimenting. Of course, we still have many great ideas in our heads, in our notes, but adding them will require a little more time.
But the gameplay changes aren't the only stars of this update. Our artists have been hard at work improving the look of Be My Horde. Their goal, much like the designers, is to make the game less visually repetitive. The artists focused on variety. We now have more diverse corpse textures, and the weather has received numerous new effects, allowing us to create much more detailed and cooler looking shadows. We've also improved Moriana's walking animation, and yes, we even made her smile occasionally. The biggest update, though, is that we've added animations to all the minions. After all, who wouldn't want to see their sheep joyfully hopping around before meeting its demise? In general, our main goal right now is to make Be My Horde less monotonous, more attractive, and more varied in both design and art. We hope we're getting closer to the point where we can say the game, in its current state, is truly polished. Once that happens, we can finally focus on presenting players with completely new content that will continue expanding the growing world of Be My Horde. What's the takeaway from this devlog? Don't be afraid to make changes to your game, but always stay true to your vision. Listen to player feedback to improve your project, but don't lose the spirit of your game. We've made a major gameplay change that improves Be My Horde, yet at the same time, it's still the Be My Horde you know and love. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. Please let us know in the comments if you enjoyed this devlog and what you'd like us to cover in the next one. We really want to be transparent with you about the development process of Be My Horde. Stay connected with us by joining our Discord server, link is in the description, or by watching our regular Developers Play series, where we stream ourselves playing Be My Horde and always include a small Q&A. Take care, minions, and praise be Moriana.